Good morning, friends, family, total strangers. I am currently house sitting for Jax's mom, so she's out of the country right now. And for those first 10 days, I had to travel because she was getting the floors redone in here. So now they're done, and me and Jax are back and hanging out. Let's see if this. Can I get the. There's Jax McGee, looking forlorn because we came back inside and he wants to play. But it's cold and windy out there. That's why we're shooting inside right now, because it's actually not that awesome out there, and there would be a lot of wind blowing across the microphone. So yeah, this is my Q&A video, question and answers. So I figured out from the last time that I don't have to sit down and write down everybody's information and their username and all that stuff. I can just take a picture with my Kindle Fire. So that's what I did. So yeah, let's get right to the questions and answers. So thanks everyone for all your questions and comments, and especially thank you for all the great video ideas. So I'm gonna definitely do quite a few of those. Great suggestions. So the first question comes from Your Pleasure 721. Says, what is your income source, if you don't mind me asking? So I'm going to do a whole video on my jobs that I've done. But I've usually just worked short-term seasonal gigs. So far, the longest job I've done is 9 weeks. So I've done 2 9-week gigs and a 5-week gig. And I started that first year, I had a lot of money saved up, and I pretty much just lived off of it. And then this last year, I started working in April, and I was dead broke starting in April. And here I am, and dead broke again. So I'm eventually going to do a video on my tax return, which I haven't done my taxes yet. And that'll just show exactly how much I made from April to April, and what I needed to live on. That unfortunately didn't include any international travel, which I love to travel international, so I want to make more money this year. So I'll probably end up working more this year to do a trip or two. But yeah, I just pick up little seasonal gigs. So I worked at Amazon. I worked as a prep cook at a place near Lake Tahoe. It was just a spring gig. And then I worked a summer gig in the Tetons in Wyoming at a lodge, and I was just a utility person. So I worked in housekeeping for a few weeks. I dishwashed, things like that, and that was just for the last 2 months of the season. But yeah, that's going to be a whole video, so I'll get into that. But yeah, thanks for the question. Aren't I due for a new how much I spend video, cost video? I find those videos super tedious and boring. But if you want me to make them, just put it in the comments and I'll continue. But I'll tell you, in this last February, I had a fairly high spending month, about $1,000 for the month, which is high spending for me. I'm usually I probably average about 800. And this is from Live and Let Learn. And he or she also asked, how many miles per week slash month do I travel? Um, since I've had my van about 2 years. I bought it in March of 2016, and straight off the bat, I wasn't living out of it, but I had to do a long drive to California and back for a wedding, and I probably traveled in those 2 months about what I average. And so, yeah, that was since I've had it for 2 years. I've put on about 50,000 miles, and when you break that down, it comes out to about 2,100 miles a month, a little over 500 miles a week. So yeah, about 500 miles a week. I figured it out. I go through about $200 in gas a month. So yeah, about $200 in gas, average over the last 2 years. I have to drive across the country to visit my parents. They live in Florida, which is a pretty long drive from where I like to be. What are your thoughts about preparation for eventual retirement? This is also from Live and Let Learn. Same comment. I don't need too much money to go on. I live a fairly simple lifestyle. So I'm not too worried about it. And I worked at a job for 11 years, and I didn't make a whole lot of money at it. It was at actually the same summer lodge that I worked at. But it had 401k with matching up to 5%, I think. And I put in 17%. So for 11 years, I just put a bunch of money into this 401k. So I have a pretty decent 401k that should help me out when I get to retirement age. But yeah, I mean, saving for the future is definitely a good idea. Definitely something that if you're young and doing this, you should probably have a plan. You should have a plan in place for sure. You can only sleep in a van for so long. I mean, I imagine at the RTR. I think about 70 is the max age that I really saw there. You don't see a lot of people in their late 70s or 80s living in a van, so I'll worry about that when I get to 70 or 80, if it happens. Do I have an Amazon affiliate link? This is from Yarn Buzz. No. That would have been very smart to have before I did my gadgets videos. And I guess it's really easy to set up. I just haven't done it yet. I actually tried to do it on my phone after I saw that comment. It's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. But I need a computer to do it. So I'll probably try to do it today or tomorrow or something. Where did I buy my Aquabot? I bought it on Amazon. Where do I do my laundry and how often? This is all still the same Yarn Buzz. I probably do my laundry. I have enough clothes to make about 3 weeks. So I probably do my laundry every 3 weeks or so. And a lot of times I just get to do it at friends' houses because I have a lot of friends from all over the country from working at a seasonal resort for, I was year-round there 11 years, but I worked there for 14 years. So I have friends all over the country. And so when I visit them, they just let me do my laundry there. And then I do use laundromats occasionally. I like the smaller town laundromats because there's almost no pressure in them. I hate, jockeying for laundry machines, which is, yeah, you don't have to worry about that in small towns. What do I keep in my pantry? This is from Tina Bean. What are your staple items? I'm going to do a video on that. So, yeah, thanks for the question. I will do a video on that. Do I have a fridge or cooler to keep fresh meats and food? That's Anita Smith. I do have a refrigerator. I have a Dometic. When I do my pantry video, I'll show my Dometic 18. It's just a little fridge. It runs from my solar panels, battery, my auxiliary battery. They're a little expensive getting a refrigerator. Don't get one of the electric coolers that plug into 12. You don't want an electric cooler. Those only keep your food 30 degrees colder than room temperature or the temperature that you're in. So if your car gets up to 120 degrees, your food is 90 degrees. That's not going to work. You want a refrigerator with a compressor. Dometic is a good brand. There are lots of other brands you can do. But I like my Dometic. And they're kind of expensive. I think it was like $350. And it's a small fridge, but I think it's money well spent. So, one of the great things that I like to do is when I make a meal, I make a big meal so I have leftovers for lunches for following days. So, yeah, it's nice to have a refrigerator for that. I'm probably going to edit out these little lag times where I'm trying to read the questions. This is a question about my Road Pro. But because I run it for 2 hours at a time, do I do that off my car battery? Do I have the engine running while it cooks? I have an auxiliary battery. I have 200-watt solar panels on my roof, which power a 200 amp hour battery. And that's what I run my Road Pro off of. It's also what I run my refrigerator off of. It is not through an inverter, so the Road Pro has a 12-volt plug, so like the cigarette lighter plug. And I have a plug wired right into my battery, so I just plug it right into the battery. I think it's through a fuse. I had it done professionally because I didn't trust. I knew I would screw up if I tried to do it. Do you run your engine while it cooks? So no, since I have the auxiliary battery, I don't have to do that. If you were to run a Road Pro directly off your car, you would need to be driving it. Not just have the car running, it would have to be driving, otherwise it's going to kill your battery. They have a pretty high power draw, 12 amps, I think, almost 12 amps. So, yeah, you need an auxiliary battery, or you need to be driving in your car to use the Road Pro oven, my little oven. This is from Shoot for the Stars. Any tips on keeping Jax cool in your rig during the warmer days? So I am just dog sitting Jax, so I won't have him with me. But if you have a dog, I personally couldn't imagine working and having the dog. Living in a van, like if I had an income source, and I would love to have a dog someday. So I would love to have an income source where I don't have to work, jobs where I can work from my van remotely or whatever. To keep, Jax cool in the summer, I would just adjust my elevation. I mean, that's if, you go to places where you can. If you're going to go go to a restaurant or have a beer at a pub or something, you go somewhere that has outdoor seating that allows dogs. And there's quite a few places that do. So, you can do that. When you go into the grocery store, just try to be as fast as possible. I leave my vent fan running and have a window down, and that works fine because I don't have any windows in the back of the van, so it's fairly cool back there. But if it's, 100 degrees out, that's not 120 degrees. So I just don't want to be places where it's 120 degrees with a dog, and elevation is the easiest way to fix that. So yeah, I mean that would be my best suggestion if you have a pet. Just stay in higher elevation places and adjust according to temperature. And I mean, for me, I don't spend any time in the van except when I'm grocery shopping. He wouldn't be in the van except when we're grocery shopping or overnight. So during the day, I spend all my time outside of the van, so we would just be in the shade, and that that's fine for keeping cool. Okay. Moving on. This is from Laura Anderson. Have you seen any UFOs out there? And have you ever cooked cinnamon bread in the Road Pro? No and no. The cinnamon bread idea sounds interesting. I'll have to look up some ideas on that. Do I come across many snakes out there? Do I worry about Jax tangling with a venomous snake? I haven't come across any snakes on my travels so far. So on any of my hikes, I haven't come across a snake yet. As far as having Jax with me, and that's definitely something to worry about. He has had some. It's like a rattlesnake booster shot. So if he gets bit, I still have to take him to a vet. But having had the booster shot, he should be fine if that happens. Because I know to avoid a rattlesnake. Jax doesn't necessarily know that yet. We had a situation where we were hiking and ran into a moose with Jax, a huge bull moose. Luckily, I don't even think he saw it before we turned around and backed away. Because that could have been bad. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely something you have to keep in mind and be smart about. There's a whole bunch of things here from Bethers. And I'm not going to unpack all of this. Is GPS navigation really necessary? Definitely not. I don't have GPS. I do often use Google Maps or Apple Maps on my phone. But I can just use a map. I have maps and they work fine. I didn't even have a smartphone all up in the whole first year that I was doing this. So I just relied solely on maps. And I would occasionally stop at a McDonald's or something and use my tablet to pull up. I would use my tablet to pull up Google Maps, map out the route, and then go. So you can definitely get by without it. Lots of people do. But yeah, that's Google Maps. I don't have GPS, so. Let's see. I just bought a Goal Zero 400. Could I use the RoPro oven with this? This is from Janelle Baker. Sorry. No. I talked to my brother about this, and he's into this type of stuff. You can't use it. The Goal Zero 400 has a max amp draw of 10 amps, and the RoPro has it has a 12 amp draw. So no, you can't. Those Goal Zeros are mostly for charging things. So you can charge your laptop with them. They have an inverter. You can charge camera batteries, you can charge those sorts of things, but those Goal Zero batteries really aren't for running appliances. There's probably some small appliances you can run with them, but for the most part, they're not for running appliances. They're for charging stuff. And then from Mike Miniman, can I make a meatloaf in my RoPro? I probably could. I'm not in a meatloaf, so I won't be making any meatloafs. And that is the end of the questions and answers. So thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. This kind of ran long. Hopefully I can edit it down to an acceptable length. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, all the stuff. Ciao.